There's a poster from 1975 that looks harmless. A fork, a knife, a plate, clean, polite, almost boring. And then your brain flips. The fork and knife are shaped like rifles. It's anti-war propaganda disguised as dinner etiquette. That's the thing about Shigeo Fukuda. He didn't scream at you. He rearranged your perception. Quietly, politely. And then, suddenly your brain is arguing with itself. He made shadows that lied. Chairs that weren't chairs. Objects that betrayed you the second you trusted them. And somehow, he did all of that without being edgy, without being loud, without turning it into some tortured artist spectacle. He just let the illusion do the talking. And I'm obsessed with that restraint, because in a world where everyone is trying to shock you, Fukuda just nudged your eyeballs sideways. And somehow, that's more destabilizing. To understand him, you have to imagine post-war Japan, a country rebuilding itself visually, economically, psychologically. Everything was being redesigned. Architecture, industry, identity. And graphic design wasn't just decoration. It was national rebranding. Imagine being a designer in that moment and choosing not to make loud nationalist statements of corporate gloss, but instead making visual puzzles that quietly undermine certainty. Not rebellion through chaos, rebellion through elegance. That's a very specific personality type, and that's the kind of mind Shigeo Fukuda had. Shigeo Fukuda was born in 1932 in Tokyo. He grew up during World War II. As a child, he experienced air raids and destruction firsthand. That matters. After the war, Japan was physically shattered and culturally disoriented. Western influence flooded in. Industrialization accelerated. The country had to redesign itself, literally and metaphorically. Fukuda studied at Tokyo National University of Fine Arts and Music in the 1950s, during a period when Japanese graphic design was becoming internationally recognized. Designers like Yusako Kamekura were merging modernist clarity with Japanese minimalism. Fukuda was technically part of this wave, but temperamentally, he wasn't trying to be a corporate visionary. He was playful, subtle, a little mischievous. He once described himself as someone who liked to create things that make people smile. Not laugh, smile. There's a difference. Smiling is internal. It means your brain cut something. And that became his entire design philosophy. In the 1960s and 70s, graphic design globally was becoming louder. Protest posters were bold. Political graphics were confrontational. Fukuda did something stranger. He stripped everything down. Minimal color, clean shapes, no clutter. But then, twist. His most famous poster, Victory 1945, shows a cannon barrel bent backward, as if the force of firing destroyed itself. It's anti-war without showing a single body. No blood, no slogans screaming at you. Just physics betraying violence. Another work, cutlery forming weapons. Another, shadows of chaotic scrap metal forming a perfect silhouette of a motorcycle. The object is random. The shadow is coherent. Reality, noise. Projection, order. He was obsessed with that gap. Because perception isn't truth. It's interpretation. And Fukuda treated design like a psychological experiment. The motorcycle shadow sculpture messes with me. You look at this pile of junk, bolts, forks, twisted metal, and it's nothing. It's chaos. It's scrapyard energy. But the shadow? Perfect motorcycle silhouette. Which means the real object is the shadow. The junk is just infrastructure. And that's such a wild metaphor for everything. Like, how much of what we think is solid is just lighting. It's not even dramatic, it's quiet. But it's destabilizing in a way that lingers longer than something loud. He didn't build illusions to trick you. He built them to show you that you were already tricked. That's colder. Fukuda's defining fixation was dual perception: object versus shadow, surface versus implication, weapon versus utensil. He believed that visual communication should contain humor, but not sarcasm, intelligence, but not arrogance. He once said that design should not explain everything. It should leave space for discovery. That restraint is crucial. Many designers try to force meaning. Fukuda constructed situations where meaning revealed itself. And this wasn't just aesthetic play. His anti-war posters circulated internationally. He was recognized globally for his contribution to socially conscious design. He became a member of the Alliance Graphique Internationale in 1972. But even at his most political, he avoided aggression. Instead of saying, "War is evil," he showed a cannon self-destructing. Instead of showing violence, he showed absurdity. He trusted the viewer's intelligence. That trust is rare. Fukuda's work lingers because it makes you complicit. You complete the illusion. Your brain flips the image. You solve the riddle. And once you solve it, you can't unsee it. There's a small dopamine hit when recognition happens. That moment when confusion turns into clarity. Fukuda engineered that moment deliberately. Psychologically, it's satisfying. Emotionally, it's subtle. Socially, it's disarming. There's no moral lecture attached. You're not told how to feel. You're invited to notice. And noticing is intimate. That's why decades later, his posters still feel fresh. Not because they predicted anything, but because they activate something inside you. Today, we live in an illusion economy. Photos curated for shadow, not substance. Online personas constructed like carefully lit sculptures. We know it's performance. We participate anyway. Fukuda was playing with that long before social media. The object isn't the shadow, but the shadow is what we recognize. We project coherence onto randomness constantly. We assume shape where there is chaos. We fill gaps automatically. That cognitive habit, that desire to make sense, is what he used as material. Not ink, not metal, perception itself. And that feels extremely modern. I keep thinking about how calm his work is. No rage, no spectacle, no tortured monologues about meaning. Just this quiet confidence that if you arrange reality carefully enough, people will see what you're hinting at. There's ego in that, but it's controlled ego. The kind that doesn't need applause. It just needs alignment. He trusted geometry. He trusted light. He trusted the audience. And that kind of trust feels almost radical now. Because today we over-explain everything. We underline, we bold, we add captions and disclaimers. Fukuda just placed the object under a light, and somehow that restraint feels more powerful than shouting. Fukuda's work unsettles the idea that reality is stable. Not in a dramatic way, not in a conspiracy way, just gently. He reminds us that perception is constructed, that meaning is often a shadow, that what we assume is solid might just be clever lighting. And once you internalize that, it's hard to go back to passive viewing. You start questioning compositions, angles, intentions. You realize how easily you participate in your own illusions. And that awareness is quiet, but persistent. Shigeo Fukuda didn't change the world with noise. He changed it by rearranging light. And once you have seen how easily a shadow can lie to you, you start wondering what else you've been calling real.